The Edmonton Oilers just got a whole lot more terrifying as they cap off their four-game Eastern Conference road trip against the New York Rangers at Madison Square Garden. Folks, these are a lot different. These are a different set of Edmonton Oilers than we've seen in the past couple games, and we'll recap that one for you from last night. But first, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, make sure you do so, folks. If you're part of the 23, almost 24% that have subscribed, I'd like to thank each and every one of you. But if you are still a part of that 76% that have subscribed, folks, what are you waiting for any and all Oiler news? Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, as it's going to get very interesting leading up to the Stanley Cup playoffs. But without further ado, Nuge York, yes, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins bit on a bit of a dry streak of his own lately, but he propelled the Oilers to a 3-1 win last night over the New York Rangers at Madison Square Garden, opening it up with a Corey Perry power play goal, as Zach Hyman was a game time decision, but he was unable to go. So Corey Perry takes his spot on the power play and gets a net front goal there, a classic Zach Hyman move with the net front goal. And of course, Corey Perry, I think he was sitting down when he scored that, so very unorthodox. But hey, they don't ask how, with the assist from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins in Leon Draisaitl on the power play. But Will Cooley of the New York Rangers ties it up exactly 5 minutes into the second period there. I mean, what's there to say about Leon Draisaitl with his league-leading 18-game point streak? He's been pretty much the MVP of not just the Oilers, but maybe the entire league over the entire season there. Of course, in the third period, tied at 1, but an unsung hero for the Edmonton Oilers breaks the deadlock with Victor Arvidsson. Of course, again, two primaries there from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, with the Arvidsson goal in the Connor McDavid goal to seal the win for the Edmonton Oilers last night. But of course, Victor Arvidsson providing the necessary depth scoring that we've been missing on this Oiler team. But the Oilers take this one 3-1 in a very tightly contested and defensive game. The Oilers held it down for a majority of the game, and it was very refreshing to see, not just, the Oilers letting anybody walk into their zone, but they kept the Rangers to the perimeter and played, again, a very tightly contested game. Shots on goal 23-22 in favor of the Oilers there. Hits 18-17 in favor of the Rangers. The Oilers winning one more face-off there, 24 compared to New York's 23, but New York going 0 for 3 on their power play, and a power play that, just looked almost lethal. The amount of puck movement on the New York power play, but Edmonton stifling all three of their man advantage attempts. But Edmonton only getting one power play goal in their four opportunities there. So I kind of took, the power play from 2022, 2023 almost for granted, where it was an automatic goal. But again, they just try to, force the cross-team pass to Draisaitl, and other teams are picking up on it. But the Edmonton Oilers block shots, 19 of them, a majority of them did come in the third period when the Oilers are trying to hold the fort down and protect that lead. Of course, Victor Arvidsson getting the first star of the game with his game-winning goal there in the third period. But I mean, the real first star in my eyes should have been, the Nuge being huge, something the Oilers have been missing for quite some time, with 3 primary assists there, +2. The only downside to his game is he needs to shoot just a little bit more. I mean, he's got such a lethal wrist shot, but Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, almost the grandfather of this Oiler team, being huge when he absolutely had to. And of course, the hockey stat chart, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins at the top of this chart here, and you can see a lot of purple leaning towards the right. That is fantastic. I mean, the Oilers just being one cohesive defensive unit last night, and it got them the win. Of course, the necessary suspects at the top there, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl near the middle there, but I mean, he had a bit of a quiet game for Leon Draisaitl standards, but I mean, again, he's just been the MVP for this team. Again, Ty Emberson struggling just a little bit. Hopefully, when John Klingberg comes back, they can sort of platoon, Emberson and Klingberg together. Now, I didn't think Jeff Skinner had that bad of a game, but he's near the bottom of the chart there. Don't know why. He had, he drew 2 penalties, almost got a really nice goal there on Igor Shesterkin, who got the start last night in favor of Jonathan Quick. Of course, I thought, Jonathan Quick was going to get the start, seeing as New York played Columbus on Saturday night. But I mean, Shesterkin got a shutout. You ride the hot hand, and that is exactly what the New York Rangers did. Just looking here at the natural stat trick chart, again, Victor Arvidsson, this is what the Oilers signed up for. I mean, Corsi for percentage in the 70s there. He's on for 16 shot attempts, on for shot attempts, and then on for 7 shots. So of course, the offense still lacking a little bit, but I mean that lethal shot in the third period broke the deadlock. And of course, you can't ask the world of Victor Arvidsson. You just need him to step up a little bit more there. And of course, like I said on the hockey stat chart, didn't think Jeff Skinner had that bad of a game, but I mean 14 Corsi for, 9 Fenwick for, on for 6 shot attempts. Of course, he wasn't completely swimming on the defensive side, so hopefully he can get just a little bit more trust out of Kris Knoblauch and playing him in more opportunistic moments here for Jeff Skinner. I mean, he absolutely deserves it. I mean, he hasn't played the worst, but more minutes for more opportunities would do him just a solid there. And of course, Nugent-Hopkins, with the way the Edmonton Oilers have been playing recently, so definitely tight checking on both sides, a lot like the other night against the Islanders, but that's kind of definitely our mandate as to how we want to play games. And obviously, a lot of the time when you do that to teams, it leads to more offense. I thought they did a pretty good job sticking with it too. We just got that third period, that third period goal from Arvidsson to push us over the top. But I think overall, that needs to be our mindset down the last 15 or so games here. Of course, the Oilers not expecting to win every game 5-4. You need to lock it down every so often and playing just, again, a more complete defensive game. And that's exactly what they did the past 2 games, I should say, against the Islanders in the Rangers there. As you can see, the Oilers holding New York to only 35 shot attempts. I mean, that is fantastic against, such names like Mika Zibanejad, Artemi Panarin, Chris Kreider, on the defensive side, Adam Fox. So to hold them to 35 shot attempts, just phenomenal work from the Edmonton Oilers. Of course, it wasn't the flashiest game that the Oilers have played so far this season, but whatever gets you the win. Of course, I mean, when we talk about the bad, we also have to talk about the good here with Stuart Skinner with a goals saved above expected of 2.81. You can say he stole that one against the New York Rangers last night, to say he outdueled Igor Shesterkin. That is just the cherry on top here for Stuart Skinner and the Edmonton Oilers. And Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, again, thought he was outstanding. I thought the other night he was great too, but he's an elite goalie, and Stu just stepped up and made some huge saves when he needed him to and stayed composed. He kind of led the way, and of course, when Stuart's going to sort of swimming in his crease, that's when I start to get a little bit worried. But not once last night. Even the Cooley goal just, slipped through the 5-hole. It happens, but not once did I ever worry that Stuart Skinner, wasn't going to be as composed as he was last night. I mean, he was calm, and a calm Stuart Skinner gets the Oilers, most nights gets them the win. But, with Stuart Skinner, his thoughts, the guys obviously played really well in front of me, and especially at the end, there were, we were 6-on-5 up to with a few seconds to go there. We were still blocking shots, so that's a huge credit to the guys. The best way for us to finish the road trip, I think, especially the way that things started. Of course, the Buffalo in New Jersey games, you can throw those game tapes in the trash there, but they finished it off with 2 solid wins. Of course, especially it's a much better feeling going back home, getting some sleep, and knowing that you're able to at least get 4 points. And of course, the last time the Oilers only allowed 1 goal in consecutive games, of course, the 2-1 overtime win and the 3-1 win over the New York Rangers. The last time they were able to do that was back in December there against the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Minnesota Wild, with 2-1 and 7-1 wins, respectively. So the Oilers getting back to their defensive ways, which is fantastic to see. And we will see more of that tomorrow night with our What's Next segment. What is next for the Edmonton Oilers? Well, they're going back home to Rogers Place for a mini home game, for a 4-game homestand, I do believe is the amount there. But the Oilers taking on the Utah Hockey Club tomorrow night at 8 Central, 7 o'clock Mountain. And the Oilers, blink and you might miss it. I mean, they are catching up to the Vegas Golden Knights again for that coveted first spot in the Pacific Division. The Oilers and the Vegas Golden Knights, same amount of games played there, was 67, and the Oilers 4 points behind. But I mean, there is the Los Angeles factor there of Los Angeles having 2 games in hand, and they're only 1 point behind Edmonton and 5 behind the Vegas Golden Knights. So it's going to be a dogfight to the finish, and we might get some exciting playoff hockey before the playoffs even start there, as the Oilers, I do believe, have the second easiest strength of schedule leading up to the playoffs. So that is it for today's video. Let me know down in the comments what you thought about last night's game. what more do you want to see out of the Edmonton Oilers? I mean, you saw them with the fantastic defensive effort, but what more? What more would you want to see out of this team? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And folks, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe here to the channel for any and all Oiler content. And we will be back tomorrow with a Utah Oilers preview. For now, take care, everybody. Have a great rest of your Monday and a great start to the week. I'm Matt.